Does your financial advisor take the time to really listen to you? Is your financial strategy personalized to you and your family? Will your financial advisor be there as your life and financial situation change? Hi, I'm Jerry Mangona, your Edward Jones financial advisor. I live here in Corktown, just a few blocks from the Daily Detroit studios, and when we work together, we'll focus on what's important to you. We'll use an established process to create a personalized financial strategy backed by the advice, tools, and resources to help you reach your goals. And we'll partner together to help your strategy stay on track. Contact me toll-free today at 866-975-8655. Again, that's 866-975-8655. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Hello, friends, and welcome to your Daily Detroit. It is Tuesday, August 19th, 2025. I am Jer Stays, and across the table from me is a still recovering, catching up on his sleep, Prince of Brightmoor, Norris Howard. How are you? We had a day out.
Yeah, we had a big day out on Saturday, and then I had a big day out on Sunday. I just want to, first of all, give happy birthday to my younger sister. It was her birthday, and I told her I would tell her happy birthday, so happy birthday.
Well, happy birthday to you.
Yeah, if you cannot hear it in my voice, I am definitely still recovering from AfroFuture, because I had a heck of a time.
That is awesome to hear. So I've got a whole lot of questions, because we're not going to get into a whole recap of everything, but I want to hear about throwing a festival on the old Brewster Douglas site. How did it come together? I
don't know. It did kind of feel like we was on like a burial site. So a part of it felt very strange, but at the same time, it almost felt like the use of the space was really, really done well, in my opinion. I think as a festival ground, it's something that potentially both Bear Rock, who owns the land, and the city of Detroit should think about more, because obviously most of our festivals are held, whether it be on Hart Plaza, there's going to be now the West Riverfront, there's Belle Isle, there's plenty of places for us to have it. But I think for those sort of smaller to medium-sized festivals, maybe only one stage or two stage music festivals, I think it worked out really well. And I think the space was a little bit smaller from previous festivals that have been held there. I think access was probably the only downside. There's not a lot of parking over there, obviously. So people were parking in kind of the structures across 75 over by the stadiums.
When I dropped you off, people were getting ticketed all over the place.
Yeah, people were getting ticketed left and right because they were parking on the residential streets in Brush Park, which, if you're not paying the meter or you don't have a permit hanging in your window, you will get ticketed. So a lot of people had some rough weekends because of that. But the grounds itself and the energy, and that was the biggest thing for me, man, is that the energy there was really positive. I actually thought the crowd was going to be way rowdier. It actually was like pretty chill, but the energy was great. Like, people were smiling, people were having a great time. Nobody was fighting. There was no, how sometimes you go to a concert or a party or anything like that, a sporting event, where you just feel like the energy is wrong, like something's about to pop off, or like you see two people and they're about to fight and it kind of messes up the energy everywhere around them. There was none of that. There was none of that energy there. Everybody was super excited, super happy, and I had an incredible time. I think they did a great job.
Tell me about the crowd.
Crowd was great. I think, one of the main things that I actually anticipated was that I anticipated to see more of Detroit itself there, but low-key, I realized like it was kind of expensive to go, as festivals can be nowadays. But the international community came out, like the diaspora showed up. Like, there were people from Kenya and Nigeria and Haiti and Jamaica and Ghana, Liberia, the UK. And this is the crowd. I'm not talking about the artists. This is just people who decided to just descend upon Detroit. In addition to people from places like Toronto, Tampa, Atlanta, New York, and all over. And so it was a really great time seeing Black folks from all across the globe come to Detroit and say really nice stuff about the city, right? Like, I had a conversation with a guy. He was from Nigeria, And he straight up told me, he said, listen, man, I've only been to the States a couple times, obviously to, places like New York, San Francisco, Los Angeles. He was like, this is the first time I'm kind of in the middle of the country. This is the kind of first time I'm not in one of those known big cities. And the people here are incredible. He was like, you go to New York, you go to LA, nobody cares. Like you're just another person. He was like, but I dropped down in Detroit and everybody from here wanted to show me everything and take me everywhere and introduce me to stuff and make sure. He was like, I'm going to lead this festival with like 10 friends that I never thought I would have before. And I'm like, that's how we get down in Detroit.
I think it's a beautiful thing. It always strikes me how much these events, it sometimes takes local folks to catch up to them a little bit. I found that in the techno community with like movement. I found it with a variety of things where oftentimes I'll see Detroit artists be bigger somewhere else and then come back. And it seems to be a kind of universal experience.
Yeah, I mean, I think a part of that is, unfortunately, a lot of these things can be, cost prohibitive sometimes, and Detroit is not necessarily a wealthy city. And so I think, you hear about it the first time, you couldn't go, you didn't budget, you didn't have, savings at the time, but okay, yeah, I'm gonna go next year, and you get kind of that energy with things like movement and AfroFuture. And I thought it was cool just because of the Detroiters that were there and people that I know, and there was a lot of people you've heard on this show before that were there, and we had a great time meeting up, is that everybody was just in such a good mood and really having the opportunity to be around and kind of fellowship with other Black folks from around the world, which is a thing that usually we have to kind of sometimes leave Detroit to do. Like, obviously, we have a West African community here in Detroit, and we have a Caribbean community here in Detroit. But at that scale and that concentration all at one time, it was unique, and I will cherish the experience. And I really thank Abdul, who we had on the show, and everybody from the AfroFuture team for not just inviting us, but letting us share in that experience.
So you're going back next year?
Hey, man, they said they're going to be in another site next year. I think when it comes to the States, they may pop around. But if they come back to Detroit, I'm going. And if they anywhere close, I'm going.
Good to hear. Good to hear. You and I went around town a little bit.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did. Jared Stay's day off.
And we ended up at what is believed to be the oldest brick house in the city of Detroit from near the 1850s, according to historicdetroit.org, the Morross House, back when this city only had 10,000 people. And we went to an event there. It's now an art gallery and event space.
Yeah, it was really cool. We went to an event that was all about like fashion sustainability. What circular fashion is what it's called, basically. Clothes swapping and, not just throwing away your garments and your items, but actually allowing other people to be able to benefit. It's basically the next phase of thrifting, right? It's like thrifting on the digital era. It was really cool and it was really interesting. A lot of great people were there. But in terms of Morross House, it's very interesting because it's one of those pieces of land, one of those properties in Detroit where everybody has driven past it.
If you've been to the Meijer on Jefferson, the Rivertown Meijer, you have seen it pulling out the parking
It's
lot.
directly across the street from the Rivertown Meijer, directly.
If you live there and there is a residence there, what access? Like, I was looking out the window, like, okay, this is Detroit.
Yeah.
As you can get.
Yeah, like literally you are across the street from that Myers. You are a block from the riverfront, you're 2 blocks from downtown. And it was really cool. And obviously the home's been refurbished and brought up to date with all the modern amenities. But as an event space, it actually is pretty chill. Like, it's a place where the event area, which would technically be the backyard of the house, is beautiful, but is nestled away from the frontage of the home. And if you weren't paying attention, you would never know it's back there. And I think that's pretty cool.
And the topics they were talking about, this whole idea of an intentional summer. So Be Reworn, which we had the founder on the show, another app called Bonnie, and Bonnie is another swap app. And then Rin is something that uses AI to help use what's in your closet. And there were a lot of people from around the country there, people from Brooklyn, people from other places. And it's interesting to see this focus on Detroit for investment. We have talked about it a bit. We have ran into and talked to a number of people who are doing work across the country and now focusing on Detroit. And I think that like citizens and people out there in Detroit and Metro Detroit need to understand the wave isn't coming, the wave is here.
It's here already. And we say that a lot of times on the show, but the wave is here already. And, you know, one thing that we've said before is that me personally, we want more participation from our friends out there in the suburbs because, listen, Oakland County's got a ton of money. Like, we just got to be honest about that. There's tons of money and capital that is ready to be deployed and ready to be invested back into Wayne County and back into the city of Detroit. But currently, it's just not as common. But now we're starting to see a lot of people from the outside that have really great ideas, that have the ability to be able to deploy capital quickly. They're going to be in an advantageous position. So my word and my advice for my fellow Metro Detroiters is like, y'all, let's get in and get in quick, man, because this wave of outside investment is already here, and they're only going to call their friends and have more stuff going on, man. So if you're somebody looking to get in at the ground floor, you only got a little bit of time left.
Then we saw something else. Really cool. I don't know if I've seen stories on it.
No, we got a special tip from a friend that took us up to Milwaukee Junction, and we got to check out Olympia Skate Shop.
Brand new
in the city of Detroit. One of the, if not the only skate shop in the city limits. And let me tell you, I'm really excited as somebody who used to skate fairly regularly. Anybody who remembers going to Wayne State with me, remembered I was the longboard guy on campus. I was a longboard guy on campus.
You feel like you have longboard vibes.
I was a longboard guy on campus, but, you know, this was way back when.
Was this when you were a Rebel Nell model as well?
It was around the same time, yes. But, you know, it was cool, and I thoroughly enjoyed skating. But one thing that I actually love is that, you know, because I'm living downtown, I had the opportunity to go to the Riverwalk, and I go to Hart Plaza to just hang out, get some sun, read a book or whatever. And I see a lot of skateboarders, and I love that. I love seeing the skaters out, you know, and practicing and working on fundamentals and working on ollies and dark side backslides and stuff like that. And having a skate shop in the city is such a cool thing, because I remember where mine and skate and surf was on Woodward, and then they moved, and then you couldn't find nowhere to get bearings like outside of Amazon, and it was great, man. So having a skate shop in the city limits is dope, man. I'm very excited for it.
And there's the ability to do some skating inside. They've got some products. If you don't know, it's at 626 Harper, which is Harper and St. Antoine. So it's tucked behind that plant they're redeveloping into apartments. And
yes.
You got to dig in there. The work they did on that building is really nice.
It is. And it's something that I think if they, you know, continue to stay afloat and they get the skater community to come out and support it, it'll be definitely worth as well.
And they have a spot in Ann Arbor.
Yes.
So it's not like these are people that are new to this game. And as a pro tip, as someone who is driving there, remember that Harper doesn't go through freeways.
It does not.
So you need to make sure that you're getting over there, like take Woodward or Beaubien or Brush or John R., because it's tucked in behind 75 there. So that's just a little word to the wise, because I have pretty good bearings in that area, and even I got spun around for a minute.
Yeah, you did.
Trust the GPS on this one. Well, Norris Howard, I'm going to drink some electrolytes.
Yeah, I'm going to do the same, and I'm going to try to find some place to have a good hearty dinner. I need to go somewhere and eat where I don't need to stand.
Italian food?
Maybe, hopefully, yeah. Let's figure it out, man. But this is my favorite kind of tire. It's good tire because I've been hanging out with good people, with awesome folks, and listening to some of the best music in the world. So, yeah, man.
All right, well, that's it for today's episode. Thank you so much for listening. We will be back tomorrow. Norris Howard, you'll be joining me.
That's right.
We're going to be doing our live stream. So check us out on YouTube in the 2:30-ish range.
I will have had lunch and coffee and a good night's sleep, so I will be definitely back on my A game.
So if you've got questions ahead of time, dailydetroit@gmail.com. We will answer them on the air. Always looking forward to that. And the live stream's been a great way to interact with some new folks to the show.
That's right.
Because YouTube, it's its own beast. So anyway, with that, I'm Jer Stays.
And I'm Norris Howard.
Thank you so much for listening. Remember that you are somebody, and we'll see you around Detroit.